All right, so we should be good here to go. Let's see if we can see the blue bar. There we go. So, yep, there we go. Don't forget, the third annual meet and greet is happening in Rocky Mount this Saturday, July the 12th from 11:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. at Pop's Diner. That's 132 South Church Street, downtown Rocky Mount. And so I look forward to you being there. This Saturday from 11:30 until 1:30. Again, just social hour there or here at. Well, I'm not at Pop's Diner right now, so yeah, there at Pop's Diner. For those who tune in to Wncr-Tv broadcast, or just want to just come out and just fellowship with community folk and have a little light brunch. We will have that this Saturday from 11:30 a.m. until 1:30 p.m. So that is your reminder there. And food will last as long as it lasts, okay? I'll say that. Of course, throughout today's broadcast, the phone line is open for you at 252-407-8432. That's 252-407-8432 is the number to call to participate in today's conversation as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. Of course, yesterday was the first day of filing for the municipal elections in Rocky Mount. I think I told you that. If not, here you go. But I'm pretty sure I did. Let's see. What am I looking for? Oh, going to the Nash County Board of Elections. Somebody sent me a text message. Yeah, that right there. Let's see. What was I doing? Okay. Nash County Board of Elections. So the municipal election schedule for 2025, and what I'm meaning by that, well, I'll talk about this schedule too first, then I guess. The first day to file for elections was yesterday. And the first time file was yesterday. And it goes until the 18th. Let me see something. Multiple. Okay. So it goes to the 18th. Now where you can file for the various townships, the city of Rocky Mount, the town of Bailey, the town of Castalia, the town of Daltrich, the town of Middlesex, the town of Momaya, the town of Nashville, the town of Red Oak, the town of Sharpsburg, Spring Hope, and Whitaker. And this is because I'm on Nash County one. Of course, Edgecombe County has elections as well. In fact, I do have that photo. Well, I took a picture. Oh, there it is. So in Edgecombe County, it's the town of Caneta, Macclesville, Pine Tops, Princeville, Sharpsburg, Tarboro, and Whitakers as well. So those are Edgecombe County municipal elections, as well as Nash County municipal elections. And let's see. So talking about early voting, in-person, one-stop elections. For the City of Rocky Mount elections, there will be here's the election schedule. Give it to you early. So we've been talking about this. I said it's probably 1 week and this, that, and the third. And so technically it's not 1 week, and technically it is at the same time, right? The one-stop election schedule is different from what we've known it to be in our community, but also something that I was anticipating and or expecting. And so for the City of Rocky Mount municipal elections, early voting will begin on September the 18th through October the 4th. And you will be able to vote in Nashville at 1006 Eastern Avenue, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. and Saturday, October the 4th from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. Then beginning on Monday, September the 29th and through October the 4th, which is that Saturday, You'll be able to vote Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. and that Saturday from 8 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Brass Memorial Library. So for the Rocky Mount municipal elections, there will be 1 week of satellite or in the city elections for or early voting opportunity for residents in the community. Again, that'll be 1 week, and that'll be at Brass Memorial Library from September the 29th through October the 4th. So be mindful of that as well. And a similar situation in Tarboro, which I don't seem to have. I got it because I got it yesterday. Let me see if it's on their website, Edgecombe County. Well, anyway, it's going to be the exact same hours. Only thing different about it is the location for Rocky Mount. Satellite location will be at Edgecombe Department of Social Services on Fairview Road. And so they too, you'll have an opportunity to vote that 1 week in Tarboro only. And then that second week, you'll be able to vote in Tarboro and Rocky Mount from that that September 29th through October the 4th. So be mindful of that. And again, it's going to be the same location, Department of Social Services in Rocky Mount for that. And it presents a very interesting situation as well, in that I could be 100% wrong. And again, I've been wrong before, and that's fine. That's how we know that we're human, right? But I don't think that a lot of people from the particular wards in Edgecombe County in particular will drive to Tarboro to cast their vote in a municipal election. They know the following week it'll be in Rocky Mount. And the same is true for Nash County. Now, of course, there could be candidates who will promote the ideal of, let me van you up and bus you over to those various locations and get you to vote and vote that first week. I do think that the thought process behind it is to remove ourselves from 13 days of voting and have a 1 week of early voting period. Of course, that's been conversations been happening all across the state for many years. And so one of the test factors, I believe, for that is that when there is a lack of participation at the County Board of Election office, that they'll say, well, 1 week within the local community is sufficient. Or the caveat to that is this, that if people bus people to Tarboro or Nashville, they will say, well, we don't need satellite locations. We don't even need 2 weeks of early voting, and it can only be at the precinct location. Because we've seen that people who say they don't have transportation, that they have transportation issues, this, that, and the third, that they were able to get to Nashville, they were able to get to Tarboro, and so we can just have it here and no longer have satellite locations for either, for none of the municipal races or primaries or anything of that nature, and have everybody go up to Tarboro or to Nashville to vote permanently. So that's something I think you really got to think about for that process. I forgot to share the Facebook Live video. Let me do that too. It just hit me. Good morning. Good morning. So, so it's a catch-22. It's like, okay, do you get people out and make the sacrifice to get them to Tarboro or Nashville and cast their votes during their first week of early voting? Or do you say Rocky Mount residents deserve convenient access to voting, and so thusly we're going to navigate people to hold off and wait until the second weekend and the second week, which is the 29th, to cast their votes. And again, I think in doing that, the argument is going to be proven that you no longer need 13 days of early voting or 14 days or whatever it is, that 6 day period is fine. And then plus your election day. So you have 7 opportunities to vote. And, that's going to be probably what it's going to be, but we'll see what ultimately happens with that. The ideal is if you got 1 day, 2 days, or multiple days, cast your vote in this election and any other election to follow as it relates to that. Let's see here. Those who are on Facebook Live this morning, I want to say good morning to the following people. That is Allison Williams, Gwendolyn Swain, Irma Maxwell, Deborah Gunter, Alice Bailey, Gwendolyn Johnson, Andre Smiley, Reginald Manning, James Bullock, Lucy Boyer, and Candy Staten. Going to say, I didn't realize that Mr. James Bullock was in Ward 3 until Saturday. And I was like, wait a minute. And so I went by and I had a conversation with him. And again, the very same conversation that I said that is germane through, I'm going to say at least 90% of residents in Ward 3 is dilapidated homes and the housing conditions in our community. And that is their primary situation, that people basically leave them unattended, that you have squalors in homes and almost set homes to fire, a potential crime risk that could go up with that. And so that is the overarching conversation that I have with people on a consistent basis. And if it ain't that, it is grass not being cut, or it is just the outward appearance. And so that is the conversation that I think I hear more often than none. Good morning also to Vernice Harris, Deborah Manning, and Greg Higgs. And not saying that there are not other issues that exist within Ward 3 in particularly, but just in cities in general. But the overarching conversation piece is that. And then, of course, you have giving youth something to do, as well as I talked about that thing yesterday about the recreation facility. But again, all of that goes with, well, not all of that, at least the recreation facility goes with the comprehensive planning and that process and what that looks like and what that feels like going forward. Of course, there was the heavy flooding in our state in the Durham, Chapel Hill area. And then, of course, we know the tragedy that happened over in Texas with the amount of water that went through there and causing life to be lost there. So we certainly keep those families, and not just even families that we know in bereavement. It's in the Texas storm and any other kind of storm, but just people who just lost family members in general, right? Because that is certainly something that some are prepared for it and others aren't. And so we certainly keep those individuals in our prayers for sure. I think I talked about this before, and I just see this on the thing. Jordan Lake, if anybody ever go back and look at how Jordan Lake came to be, I think that would be an interesting educational opportunity for some and a review for others. Hey, caller, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Bronson.
Good morning.
You know, I was listening to the news yesterday, and the situation down in Texas. Now, I know they said that the campers should not have phones like they do in schools. If they have them, not have them turned on. You would have thought that some of the staff had phones. Just like this catastrophic emergency, some type of notification system should have been available for them to know. And the news conference that I guess it was the sheriff, he didn't want to talk about the fact that they didn't have anything. They was focused on trying to recover life, and I understand that. But with a camp as large as that, over 700 kids, I can't imagine not having some type of emergency planning. I know with child care, when I was in it, we had to write out an emergency plan. So what's the difference in day camp and a child care?
Now, you remember some of those summer camps?
They're school-age children, so they should have been licensed by somebody with some type of rules and guidelines and regulations.
Yeah, it just depends on the state, because in North Carolina, you can do summer camps with a non-licensed situation as long as you're not keeping the children but a short period of time. It doesn't require a license. 4
hours out of the day, so you would think with 700, somebody's making some big-time money down there and not doing anything, considering the people that send their children there. The Bushes went there. A lot of presidents' kids went there and Congress and whomever. So, I think there's some liability issues there which they're not talking about it now and I understand. But not to have anything in the state of Texas, any tornadoes, hurricanes, and everything that rolls through there, you would think there would be like Oklahoma or someplace like that where they have sirens.
Right.
So, I hate that it happens, but you're talking about little children.
So,
And I would look it up and see what type of security they should have out there, but you would have thought somebody in that camp had a cell phone. They said they should have alert out through the cell phone.
yeah, very tragic situation for sure.
Yeah, so, it's very sad that, this is why I say people sit up in the office and they always checking on folks that's trying to do right, but those ones they really need to check on, they let them slide through the cracks.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens all the time. And while I have you on the phone, I see that a lot of candidates for Ward 3 filed yesterday and have the signs out. And I know you're going to focus on the entire ward instead of just one thing. So I want to ask you this question, but I know you can't answer, being you're in the position that you're in. But I think it's more than just crime that you should be focusing on. You should be focusing on the entire ward. Not only that, things going on in the city itself. So I really hope and pray that you get it, Mr. Bronson. I really do, because I truly feel that you are the person for the ward. And I think your concept to improve the ward is one that is needed. I really don't know a whole lot about Ward 3 other than they say, it's really needing a lot of attention from the city.
Yeah.
And I feel that you are the person to help out with anyone, because your objective to me is quite different from others. So that's what I wanted to say this morning. But I did notice that a lot of candidates had the signs out and had gone to register to participate in the election yesterday. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And so, allegedly, there will be 6 people who is running for Ward 3 in Rocky Mount, and 50% of the candidates have filed. And yesterday, I did file for Ward 3 in Rocky Mount, as well as Naileen Richardson filed for Ward 3 in Rocky Mount, and Tim Barnes filed in Ward 3 in Rocky Mount. So that would leave 3 additional candidates to file between today and the 18th of this month. And then at noon, the books will close and it will be official. I think you have until noon on the 18th to withdraw your candidacy if you decide that you no longer want to run in the race as well. So all of that. Well, let me not say the 18th is the last day, because I don't know. It could be before the 18th. But so 50% of the 6 potential candidates have placed their name in the hat for the representation of Ward 3. We do understand that Councilman Richard Joyner has decided that he's not seeking re-election, so it makes it a reality that Ward 3 will have new representation come December of this year. And what I do appreciate about the number of people who is running for the particular ward is that it gives or heightens the conversation for or with constituents or residents, neighbors, in the community about what it is they've been advocating for years. And I will say this, Ward 3 has not gone without advocacy over the years. There have been a number of people who will get in that community and work, who will work, right? But the challenge has been that it has not been a city-supported situation. It has not been a holistic approach to what do we do. Again, as I was talking to somebody the other day, I said some of the issues as to why there's a lot of vacant lots in Ward 3, and particularly the Clark Street, Branch Street, Wilson Road area, is because many years ago, in the last 30 years, less than 30 years really, there was even more blight and dilapidated homes in the city. And so the city thought it was wise at that time to not try to restore the homes because they felt as though the homes were not in a place in which they could be rehabable. And so just tear them down. And then what did it do? It created all of these pieces of land. Again, you could name them as land of opportunity. We can go and build. But then it also say, how do you attract people that want to build in the area? That I'm going to build a $200,000 home or $100,000 home or whatever it is, and I'm going to build it next to blight, which I'm going to put $200,000 into a home, and when it's finished, it's going to be worth $150,000 or $140,000. So it is a real issue that it really has to be addressed. As one, I think that you're going to have to address some things through community code enforcement, and I think you're going to have to be very deliberate and targeted when it comes to if and when the city gets into a real property acquisition or taking property because of unpaid liens and or taxes, that you do that in a way that is going to have some meaningful impact, because spotty tax foreclosures and hidden and missing, and I don't think is really going to change the overall focus of the city in general. So I think, and some people are going to argue that you're targeting black and brown people or this, that, and the third, and targeting poor people, and we're going to hear this conversation, right? But at what time do we say that folks should not be living in the conditions in which they're in? At what point do we say that a majority of the city is black and brown people? So I don't care what area you go into, you can be dealing with black and brown people. And so if we really are concerned about the welfare of individuals, health opportunities and employment opportunities and improved living conditions and increasing quality of life, it would seem as though the conversation would say, this is why we're doing this. We're doing this because we certainly are the head and not the tail. We are above and not beneath, right? And we're also doing this because hopefully, for those who want it, you'll become homeowners. Those who continue to want to rent, you will continue to rent, but you'll be living in places that make you smile. And here's the other piece, though, too, that whilst others who don't live in the community will say, hey, how in the world can people live like this? Then you have people who actually value and started from a position in where they're growing from there. And so you really got to be, one, you got to be in the know, I think, as to how you talk about conditions of communities, because you also don't know where people come from and what pride they might have, and what used to be $3 is now $5, if that makes sense. And I just use those numbers for whatever. But there are people who are generally going to get out in the yard and do that yard where they're going to pour their dollars into fixing up and beautification of their homes, because that's their homestead. But at the same time, I do believe you got to have city involvement of saying, you know what, some of these landlords that we have in particular communities who target particular areas, who allow conditions to still stay where they are, we got to figure out a very deliberate approach to ridding ourselves of that, and being sure that neighborhoods are truly welcoming communities. They're welcoming because we don't have vacant lots. They're welcoming because we're taking boards off of homes and we're getting ownership back into those houses and life back into those houses. Because as they do redistricting every so often, Ward 3 should not be getting bigger. In fact, it should be getting smaller. But what has happened is there's been expansion of land mass because you do have fewer people living in what was primarily the Ward 3 area. And of course, it did take some areas out, but because of the abandoned homes that existed. Fortunately enough, at the same time, you do have people who are coming back into the areas and making development into homes, but then you're just wondering, okay, what's going to happen there, because you may be doing without rhyme or reason. And then you have people who've been land banking houses and builders. And, I'm pretty sure people probably get those calls all the time. Is your house for sale? Is your property here for sale? This, that, and third. And, sometimes I got time. Well, what do you plan on doing? Are you planning on, what other projects have you done? And that's what I ask them. I said, what other projects have you done in the city? And then they'll say, oh, we do stuff all over different cities, from North Carolina, South Carolina, and da 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 da. Well, if you don't have a deliberate plan as to what you plan on doing in the next 12 months, you can leave me alone, right? I think they call everybody in Rocky Mount about houses for sale, because I also think as a known fact that Rocky Mount will allow you to have your homes in whatever condition while they do all this little development somewhere else, and then they come make a whole bunch of money off a particular piece of land that they might have gave somebody $10,000 or $15,000 for, and then eventually the city comes and say, well, I'm going to give you $200,000 for it. And so that I think they were seeing it as a pattern, and sends an opportunity to sit there and allow communities to continue to go downwardly while eventually making a payday of doing absolutely nothing. Zero investment, zero meaningful investment, because the investment of acquiring the property is something. So that was my soapbox for today. Didn't plan on talking about all that, but I did what I did. Good morning also to Mary Helen. Good morning to Waylene as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to Wncr-Tv Now as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation this morning. So 3 have filed as of yesterday, and we're looking for 3 more to file between now and then. Hey, caller, good morning. On the air.
Mr. Bronson, I just read the guidelines for summer camps in Texas.
Okay.
Texas summer camps must be licensed by the Texas Department of Health and Human Services and meet specific criteria regarding supervision, recreation, and duration. Camps must provide safe and healthy environment. Now, let's stop right there. That being said, they know that the Guadalupe River is in a flood zone. They have the 100-year plan, or it floods every 100 years, just like the city of Rocky Mount. So why wasn't something put in place? You got a state agency that supervises, write them up if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, what has happened? Here again, we're talking about children. It's just a shame for 60-some people to lose their lives. It wasn't just 60 in that camp.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. Maybe I saw that. I think it's down about 100. But yeah, that's because of the other areas as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Last night it had increased. Mm-hmm. But, I just don't get it. And I'm saying that to say this. What does the city of Rocky Mount have in place?
For mitigating floods? Or what?
No, if for another flood that comes through, do they have some type of siren?
Oh, no.
Other than your phone, and the police come through the neighborhood, waking everybody up? What do we have in place?
Yeah, that would be it. The text message alert system that do have in place, but no siren system or anything of that nature.
So do you think we should have one?
So generally communities have that because they have a consistency in type of tornadoes, like in tornado alley, so to speak. You have those because there's a consistency of storms that go there. And so better safe than sorry, right? I get that whole thought process as well. I have no idea. That was somebody that kind of think about, because the last time we had a flood, what was 19? They had one in 15 with Matthew that caused some devastation in various communities. And I certainly don't think it hurts to explore some opportunity to see what that cost factor is, and then say, okay, here's what it costs to have some kind of system like that put into place. is that something we want to do today, or is there something other projects more of a priority, right? And so if there is a priority to say that is what we need to install, then by all means, let's do it. But again, I think given the due diligence of it, sure, you can always price check and see what the points are. And then also being sure that type of program is expandable as the city continues to annex new areas in, that you can easily tap into the expansion of that alert system.
Right. Well, I think where you're in a flood zone, surely something needs to be in place other than a phone. Or some people's phones doesn't ring when you're charging them. Mm-hmm. So I think some type of high power notification should be available. And based on what I see and the way the sirens are stationed, it ain't nothing but a pole and a big siren. How much should that cost? Surely not like the land over there in Nash County.
So it could be that. I mean, it still would be some infrastructure piece you have to put in place because it's a pole, but you got to have connectivity
right.
to that pole. So whether you do it through, some type of wireless communication system or traditionally burying through fiber. So there's a whole bunch of approaches that it could take. So some of the things that may seem to be light work to do ends up being more than what one anticipates. And then what does that system out? Then how do you get people trained and prepared for it? So then most of those cities that have those alert systems in place, they also have periodically training so you know what to do. So if you hear this type of tone, it means do this. If you do this type of tone, you hear that. So it'll also be an educational piece. And so it's a whole bunch of stuff that would go into an emergency alert system. Because if I hear a sound, what does that mean? Does that mean a tornado's coming? Does it mean a flood is coming? What does that tone actually mean? So it's going to have to be a whole bunch of things you have to pretty much work out through a citywide alert system.
Well, I just think just turning the siren on and everybody knows something going on that shouldn't be going on. And I thought every city should have a emergency readiness program. Don't they supposed to have? Well, I know the hospitals does.
Yeah, the city has an emergency plan. Absolutely, they have an emergency operations system in time. They got a whole plan for that. I mean, because we've gone through so much, right, in Rocky Mountain. So going through those things has helped us improve our conditions as to how to handle emergency situations. And so in real time, there's an emergency operations system for the city of Rocky Mount. So they have all those kind of policies and protocols in place. How to mobilize staff, and then of course you have other programs in which they will go offer aid to other communities in a time of disaster as well, or emergencies.
Well, I'm gonna get off the phone, but I do want to say this: when they have that academy here in Rocky Mount, where they go around and talk about every department, the need includes that too. What about that?
Include what?
Emergency readiness for the city.
Oh, I wonder is that in there?
Rocky Mount Academy.
Okay.
But anyway, I was just thinking this morning, and sometimes I'll just look up stuff to make sure I know what I'm talking about. But I kind of figured that if you have a child care or camp or anything, it should be governed by the state. But anyway, let's hope everything works out well. Thank you.
Thank you. And so often, a lot of regulations don't come into place until tragic events happen. And so that is how we be more and more regulated. When other folks don't do what they're supposed to do, then other businesses coming along the line have to do more and more because of it. But absolutely, there is always learning opportunities, always expanding. Again, firm believer that we don't have all the answers. We won't have all the answers. We will die not having all the answers. But those things that we do know, we do those things that we can perfect and do better, we do that as well. And there's nothing wrong with exploring various opportunities to see if it makes good and prudent sense to engage in those things. And so, but yeah, Rocky Mount definitely has an emergency management system in place. And so, again, even that has been improved upon because of storms and things that we've been through. And here it is. So if you go to the City of Rocky Mount website and just type in emergency management, it says a community of operations planning, COOP, is the municipal's effort to safeguard the performance of mission essential functions during wide range emergencies, The initiatives ensures that the City of Rocky Mount departments are able to continue their essential daily functions. COP requires planning for an event, natural, human cause, technological threats, national security emergencies causing an agency to relocate its operations to an alternative or continuity site to ensure the continuation of essential functions. The Emergency Operation Plan, the EOP, is a City of Rocky Mount's disaster plan that enables coordination, protection, prevention, mitigation, response, and recovery activities that increases the city's ability to minimize loss of life and reduce impacts from disasters. And so, and again, that plan is continually to be expanded upon as other disasters and emergencies come into place. You know, you always go back and say, okay, what could we have done better? What could we have done? What worked? What didn't work? And I think if you're not engaging in conversations like that, that's horrible. But obviously, Rocky Mount is, and so they do have that plan updated, and be sure they have equipment ready and mobilized for it. And again, we think about how North Carolina is more and more storm ready now when it's dealing with snow and things that's coming coming to our area, how they get ready to get the roads ready for that as much as possible. So we live, we learn, and hopefully we do, right? We live, we learn, and hopefully we do. 54 minutes past 8 o'clock hour this morning on WNCR-TV Now as we continue to talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I do know that Dr. Moses Burke, she passed away here, wasn't it, Moses Burke? Make sure. I want to think about somebody else. Yeah, Mosenberg. Yep. For the Mississippi Mass Choir, passed away at 92 years old. She was best known for performance in the Mississippi Mass Choir. Mama Moses, powerful voice and shakable faith, joyful spirit touched the hearts around the world to help define sound of soul of Mississippi Mass Choir. Her legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. Popular songs include "They Got the Word" and "I'm Not Tired Yet." And this morning when I rose, I didn't have no doubt. Again, keeping that family, of course, in prayer as well this morning. 5 more minutes before I get up out of here this morning. I want to also say good morning to our Freedom. Thank you so much for tuning in as well. Ms. Perkins, the chairperson for Edgecombe County Democrats. Hey, caller, good morning.
Hey, Bronson, how are you? It's Kathy.
Hey, how are you? I'm doing well.
Good. Hey, got a question for you or a suggestion.
Uh-huh.
Last week, we took the kids up to Kinston to the Lions Adventure Water Park.
Uh-huh.
Why couldn't Rocky Mount do something like that over there by the Splash Park area?
Make so even I looked at building a water park in Rocky Mount myself when I had the fairground land, and they could. And I will tell you that Rocky Mount had a very unfortunate event that happened down in Kinston with one of the summer camp children who went down there, ended up drowning at Lions Park some years ago. So I don't know how ready or kind of appetite the city would have with that type of liability with the water park, but it's a great place. And they actually got a lot of that funding through Woodman's of America and also from the tobacco settlement. I think that was about a $30 million project they did over there. But the Woodman's of America, I think, gave like $12 million to it. That tobacco grant place, I think, gave, I don't know, another $15 or $20 million to it. Then the city of Kinston gave some money towards it. And so pretty good place. And I think they got expansion opportunities there as well. But absolutely, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, kids people die at amusement parks every year, but they keep building them. I guess since there's not a lot here in Rocky Mount for families to do cheap, they charge $10 a day to go there, which is, it only has 4 or 5 rides, but still, I just feel like people around here don't have the money to go here, there, and everywhere, King's Dominion and all that. And a $10 a day water park over there would just be, I think that would be an awesome idea. I really do.
I will say this, that on that land they commonly call 336, one of the development opportunities there, or asking a developer to come in the city, is to build a splash park or water park or things of that nature, similar to what you're talking about, what they got down in Kinston. And so it wouldn't be really the city being involved with it, but having an outside developer actually doing that is what they're kind of hoping would happen as a part of some of the activity that could potentially happen at 336, but it could be anywhere. But when you start getting people in that industry looking at doing that, then they may do it. I mean, a lot of times those are summer situations. We look at Kings Dominion and all these other places that's having some trouble. But hopefully there's an appetite for that when people, to your point, you got to have disposable income. And so when people don't have the dollars to foot those high utility bills that those places are going to have, and water, all of that water is recycled. There's a lot of costs going into it. So you got to be sure that people have that disposable income to make that place solvent. And so if they can make those numbers work, I think anybody will build anything, because we live in a capitalistic society, right? How do you make another dollar? But I appreciate you.
Right. All right. Well, thanks, Sonny. Have a good day.
You too. Very familiar voice, and that was Ms. Kathy Hawk, who ran for school board some years ago. So I appreciate her continuing to watch the program as well, and being involved in the community and always offering suggestions as well. So at any rate, we will see you tomorrow sometime around 8 o'clock to do it all over again on WNCR-TV as we talk about things impacting our state, our city, and our nation. I don't think I really talked about any national news. I guess by going to Mississippi and Texas, I guess that was essentially national. So yeah, we'll take that one. We'll see you tomorrow to do it all over again on WNCR-TV. Don't forget, this Saturday from 11:30 until 1:30, looking for you to come out to Pop's Diner at 132 South Church Street, downtown Rocky Mount, as we have the WNCR's annual meet and greet this week. And this weekend we'll have chicken and waffles and some sides and things of that nature for you to dine in as well. So we'll see you.